There we go. Welcome back, everyone, to another Stock Market Open live stream. All right, so let's go ahead and get started today. Also, quick note: if you have not gotten your text yet with the Alpha report, go to your emails here. I don't know what the deal is with the text. Why this service that we're using seems to be very slow at sending them. I send them like 20 minutes before 6:15. I don't know. It just sometimes it just takes forever to show up. So I don't know. Let me know if you got the actual text, or if you're just using the email. Either way. Okay, good. So let's get started. First, we've got what do we got right now? We got bond yields down about 2.9 basis points. I really think Jerome Powell basically gave bond yields a license to fall yesterday. We talked about that a little bit in the Alpha report in some more detail. Check that out if you haven't seen it yet. As far as oil, nice drop on oil right now. Over 1% down on oil, which is fantastic. And then we've got, let's see here, futures right now, maybe slightly red. I honestly, I don't think right now is going to be much of a, what's it called? I don't think you're going to get much of a, how should I put it, take profit in the environment yet, or sort of in the stock market yet. We just haven't gotten to that level of, how would you say, greed yet, or maybe fear. What would it be? I guess it would probably be more fear. There's really almost no fear right now. Generally, you kind of need some fear in the market to actually get some profit taking going. Otherwise, you're just not going to see it, which is fine. It means stocks can keep rallying. So let's take a peek at pre-mark, and see how things are going. Okay, let's go into what do we got here on the sticks. So Yelp up about 1% in pre-market. So Super Micro is really interesting. You had a bottom yesterday or 2 days ago in the morning. It rallied 2 days ago. It rallied yesterday. And right now, it looks like it's probably going to open close to flat. I'd be curious to see what ends up happening today, but I'm watching this one. It's selling for about 2.5 times book right now. And I think the delisting fears are a little overblown. But we'll see if it actually ends up moving, because it might not. And if it doesn't have any momentum, it won't go anywhere. As far as the Qs, waiting to see what direction we go here. I think this will give us sort of confidence on the day. Are we going to go up? Are we going to go down? What direction are things going to go? We'll see. Tesla up a nice 60.
Buy the dip.
Yeah, there you go. Tesla up a nice 60 basis points. And it's really got to get through that $300 order book. Let's see if we can pull it off today. NVIDIA negative, which is going to put a little bit of negative weight on the potential for Super Micro to rally. And if Super rallies, Dell will probably come down a little bit. Upstart, look at that pre-market move on Upstart. Is that right? Yeah, 17% on Upstart in the pre-market. Let's take a peek at this. Okay, somebody says no text, just email. Yeah, I don't know what the scoop is with that. Let's see here. Steve is here saying gold is not topped. So French bully. No, I don't sell any of your information. I would never sell any of your information. I would not do that. So when you sign up for the Alpha report, it's not like we're giving your information to anyone else. So no text or email. Yeah, I don't know. It's through MailChimp. And usually they're really good, but a lot of people are mentioning they're not getting. I got the text for yesterday's report just now. What? That doesn't make sense. Yeah, it seems like the texts just aren't working. We paid some good money on the texting, so we'll figure out what's going on with the texting campaign. But anyway, in the meantime, I sent one version this morning. I actually sent two versions with the text campaign. I sent one version as with a link, and then I sent one version with a picture just to see like which one would work. I thought maybe the picture one would go through more because you pay like 3 times as much. But we'll get to the bottom of what's going on there. So kind of dumb. It just might be a bad service, and we'll just have to try something else. But that's okay. We'll get to the bottom of that. So anyway, 4 minutes to go here until the opening bell. Yeah, a lot of folks saying no text, just email. Okay. No, we're not using Twilio. Again, we're using MailChimp. No additional APIs. Alpha Report is fire, bro. Thanks for all the hard work you even do to even sleep. Oh, thanks. No pictures are MMS. Yeah, well, that's why I sent one. I sent one with a link and then one with multimedia just to see, because they charge you more for multimedia, but then, I don't know what their deal is. So if somebody has a better text service, I'll probably just switch text services. MailChimp seems to just suck. Just read the Alpha Report. Great work. Appreciate it. Awesome. Yeah, cool. So somebody says, do you think now is a good time to sell Tesla? I've been waiting for Tesla to recover for so long. The thing about Tesla is once it gets on these rally modes, it can kind of keep going. Volatility is very high, so I'm not the biggest fan of buying calls on it right now, for example. And I wouldn't necessarily bet against the momentum with puts. I think what makes more sense if you have a lot of shares is maybe look at selling calls, because volatility is so high. Obviously not personalized advice. I don't know what your situation is, but when volatility is high, you usually want to sell options, right? And when volatility is low, you usually want to buy options. So that's just something to keep an eye on. But not a lot of catalysts today. We do have the University of Michigan sentiment coming out. But that's usually a nothing burger. So that'll come out at 7 a.m. The expectations there in the Alpha Report. So if you don't have the Alpha Report yet, go to meetkevin.com/alpha to sign up for it. And what we really need is we just need to make an app. And then you could just get a little push notification. Then you don't have to deal with the SMS or international and all that kind of stuff. So... all right, so let's see what else here. Steve from International here says he hasn't gotten an international email yet. Okay, we'll take a peek at that too. Let's listen in here from him.
Move in 1 year.
David, this is a great place, and people judge these things as who is going to be the next Chipotle.
Okay, fair, but shouldn't an analyst be able to apply typical fundamental analysis and come to some sort of a conclusion, even if it's not necessarily one that aligns with your view?
No. Like Jay Powell. No. Look, I think it's a great company, and I think Dow 6 is a good chance to buy it. Not unlike when I said buy Dutch Bro when it hit 28, and then bingo, BROS, another company I have on today. These companies are sticky, David, because you realize they've got multi-city roadmap. They've got a really good model.
Yeah, Bros, by the way, was up 28% yesterday. It was a pretty good move. There might be some give back today. I'm watching Dutch Bros specifically for that potential of a give back. So I'll be watching Supermicro. We'll be watching Tesla, obviously. That's up almost that's sitting at $299 right now. It's right on the door. You clear that $300 order book, could be bullish. I remember when we were at 200 saying that, and it wasn't that long ago either. Okay, so Tesla, let's see here. What else are we going to watch? We'll watch bonds. We'll watch the Qs to see the direction of that. We'll watch NVIDIA. What else? See what's going on with Lyft and some of these others that rallied yesterday. All right, let's get the bell.
I want to buy some. I want to buy some of the Infinite Kitchen. I think it's a great company.
Let's get to the opening bell on the CNBC Real-Time Exchange. At the big board, it's Robertson Ryan, a veteran-owned broker-dealer, recognizing Veterans Day at the NASDAQ Crane Shares AI and Technology ETF. Actually, Jim, interesting ARC with its best week of the year. ARC Innovation up 11, 12.
I know, and she was
all right. We've got, let's see here, the Qs right now. About to go flat, which is actually pretty bullish because they were down about 20 bips. So I like seeing that. Want to see some more of that movement. You've got, let's see here, bonds. Yeah, bonds nicely positive. I mean, again, you got a license to rally here on TLT from Jerome Powell. There we go. Some positivity on the Qs. That's pretty good. No momentum yet, though, there on Super. There comes a red candle on Tesla, pretty much right at 300. Not a surprise. Again, you got to clean up this order book of sells first. A lot of people, I think, are going to take profits at that 300 psychological level. Fundamentally, obviously, we know the valuation is a little bit stretchy right now. But when Tesla rallies, it rallies. Like, it's kind of like one of the, it's kind of like your friend where, when they party, they party. Tesla knows how to have a good time. But what are you at right now? 300 divided by 243 puts you at about 123 times earnings. Obviously, predicated on hope for substantial EPS growth. If even if you give an extra 10% of EPS growth, and you could say they grow at 40%, you're paying about a 3 peg for the growth here. So it's not cheap, but it's the momentum that has been doing so well, and so that's why volatility is high, right? Volatility, is some of the most extreme levels that you've seen in a while. So we'll kind of see where things balance out over here. You usually don't like trading the first few minutes of the day anyway, to just figure out and see what's going on. Then Q is still bobbing around 0. Nvidia's trying to come up. Lyft's trying to come up. Yes, Super Micro is just not getting the momentum right now. It had a lot of momentum yesterday. It looks like it's giving it back today. So that might not have any legs to it. Let's see. Yelp's got a couple percent. Sunrun's going down. Oh, that probably means wow, another 4% down on Enphase. So one of the things in the Alpha report this morning is I said watch Enphase and watch the price action if it falls under $70. And it's under $70, and it looks like the price action is more down. Yikes. Okay, they were Super's trying to get a green candle. Tesla's getting a green candle. Here we go, going for 300 again. Once you break 300, you probably knock to 305, 310, somewhere in that range pretty rapidly. Just because I think most of your sell order book's going to be right above 300, and then your sell order book might be pretty clear between 300 and 310. But we'll see. So 10 cents away, really. You're going to break 300 here. It'll be the first time we've broken 300 in probably about 2.5 years, maybe even 3 years, which is kind of crazy to think about. So how can you join Alpha if you're not from the U.S.? Just go to meetkevin.com/alpha, and then there's a little line right under the yellow bar if you're outside the U.S., and just click that and then sign up. So, okay, Q's positive here, getting that positive momentum. Yeah, you're 4 cents away now from 300. But yeah, this is what it looks like, meetkevin.com/alpha. Scan that QR code or this. Outside the US, click here. Just click that button. So, let's see here. SS new eine Phase. Yeah, it's just a phase for Enphase. Oh, there it is. I told you. It would skyrocket as soon as you break 300. Nice. Yep, there it is. There's the pop. Yeah, there's just not going to be a lot of sell order book. So what happens is, the sellers are at $300. And then the sell order book is basically empty, for a few dollars. And then, people who want to be part of the momentum, they're pressing buy, 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 and so they're trying to go crazy buying it. And then what happens is it just pops up to where your next available seller is, which is usually a chunk above where 300 is. So not uncommon to see this. Again, probably a 310er, very, very sustainable, I think, since most of that order book's going to be cleaned up over here. Just be careful beyond day trading. Volatility very, very, very high right now for options, which makes a good opportunity for selling calls to pick up some yield. But buying calls, as much as it's so fun when the momentum's up, it's tough to hold them because when that volatility crush comes in, it's gonna rob you of some good tendies. So watch for that vol crush. Q's up about 7 bips, which is pretty good. Dutch Bros, look at that bounce on Dutch Bros. 43.49 line, watching that. Let's see what's going on here. Sunrun keeps dumping. Solar Edge keeps dumping. Where is oh my gosh, Ubiquity's up 13% and got halted? What? It's suspended? What happened? Let's take a look at this. Whoa. Let's go for UI here and see what the news here is. This is like an acquisition or something? Oh no, just earnings. Yeah, Q1 revenue beat, although they didn't really have a lot of estimates. So, but they came in with about a 5% beat on their numbers there. So good for them. Bitcoin sitting around 76.2, 10% on trade desk to the downside. Not so great. And somebody says Upstart's up like 26%. That's crazy. Really? Let's see. Oh, wow. Yeah, that's incredible. Oh, looks like Enphase is, I don't know. It's hard to tell if it's catching a bid or what's going on here. Tesla's continuing its rally, 303 now. Nvidia up 50 basis points. Q's 7. And let's see here. Lyft 1%. Super Micro very slow on the bids there. Dutch Bros moving up. There goes Tesla. Let's see. I wonder how volatility is on Dutch Bros today. Let's see here. It should be pretty elevated because of those earnings. Yeah, 2 days ago, but we'll see. Dutch Bros. Why is it every time I look at CNBC, Jim Cramer's talking about Paramount? Like he just had Paramount up there, and I'm like, it's always Paramount. It must be like sponsored by them or something. Oh yeah, Dutch Bros volatility is off the charts too. Certainly some of the highest we've seen all year. That's crazy. Okay. Upstarts pushing. Dutch Bros pushing. Tesla. Starting to get some. Oh, look at that. Right at about 305. Looks like you're introducing some sellers again. Very interesting. So 304-ish on Tesla now. Little bit of a red candle coming in on markets. Still down 4% on Enphase, though it's catching a bid here. Look at that. Catching a bid about 68, 69 bucks. Somewhere around there. And Enphase volatility's a little on the high side too. Oh yeah, very high. So I wonder why is Solar Edge 5%? Goodness gracious. Redfin had earnings yesterday, missed. This stock moves like 10% on like a daily. I feel like it's up 10, then it's down 10, it's up 10, then it's down 10. And it always seems to rotate around $10. Then you've got Palantir, 56 bucks. Topping out a little bit. You actually got a lot of underlying red over here. Wynn's red, Amazon's red, Intel's red, small caps are red. Meta's only up like 3 basis points. Apple's up 50. Well, that's nice. Estee Lauder's down another 3%. Taiwan Semi, 2% to the upside. Volatility's down. Enphase trying to recover here. Upstart keeps going. And the Qs are also remaining stable. Pretty stable. So looks like some enthusiasm being maintained. Again, not seeing that profit take. I think that's been pretty common in the market. Is nobody wants to take profits right now, or it's relatively rare to want to. Probably just because stocks keep going up. So why would you? Which is entirely logical. Okay, Enphase 69, get a little sell bids again. Okay. Nvidia dropping a little bit. Supermicro really having trouble getting momentum, and Dutch Bros already losing some momentum. All right, let's listen in here for a moment.
Be a sea change for the banking industry.
When you get together with bankers, they were so always afraid to talk about how good things were because they were afraid to draw the wrath and ire of the regulators. David, wrath and ire are done.
They are.
In praise of banks, in praise.
You trying to do a little Shakespeare here for me?
No, it would be more somewhat biblical.
I do love this line in the Journal piece today. A top M&A banker, who typically votes Democrat, said he was personally disappointed by the outcome. But as he sat on his couch and watched the results come in, many of his corporate clients texted in elation.
Well, yeah, that was I know there were some good parts.
Well,
of that story.
Wells Fargo have been one of my biggest positions, and that's got that salary, the cap, the investment cap, where that.
Yeah, and Enphase dropping again. Just can't keep it up.
Like to be, and that's been hanging around there since February of 2018. Janet Yellen put it on, and then Yellen, what was she? She was I saw her. What was it? Treasury. That was I knew she was Treasury. But I was just trying to get
Jim,
David's.
you have an odds-on favorite for who's going to get the job? Anything you're picking up in your network? No? Okay.
All right, boring. Bitcoin's capped out a little bit at 76. I also have a line at 76.3. You can see that right here. It just sort of keeps getting rejected at 76.3. Qualcomm also giving back a little bit of its enthusiasm. Peloton's not really holding on to its enthusiasm for trend today. Neither are the Qs. Honestly, you're kind of slowing down a little bit with speed and enthusiasm for El Marquette. I wonder if that can come back a little bit. Tesla's trying to hold that enthusiasm. But right now, it looks like the Qs might be about to go negative, and which isn't great. And then, let's see here. Okay, yep, Qs just lost the lead.
Lost the lead.
Bobbing around zero, though. How's Tesla moving? Tesla seems to be... really trying to push that 305 figure now. I personally think 310 is probably where it really goes off to if you can get this moving. Let's see here. Okay. Larger drop there on Nvidia. What's going on here? Okay. Let's see. Enphase. Dropping a bit too. Is it happening over to Tesla? No, see, Tesla wants to keep going. Tesla doesn't care. It's gonna break that level in just a moment there, where you get to go through 305. And once you go 305, that's gonna start looking pretty good. Let's see here if it can. Because that's, yeah, there it is, 305, and then you should get a pop till about 310 would be my guess. I don't think you're going to go much higher than 310 today, though. So if you're looking for a place for profits, I mean, no guarantees, obviously, but 310, I think, starts looking desirable. If you can get the pop up. I don't know if you can get it to hold. That's going to be the tricky part. So, let's see here. Nvidia is struggling a little bit, and then what else? Supermicro gave up. Everything today I think is predicated on really the direction of those Qs, and bearish Qs is going to move you over to the bearish side of sort of the trading plan. If you have a trading plan. But let's see what happens. Maybe it was just a short-term give up right here on Nvidia that did that. And it's possible that won't last. Ka-ching. Bolt. Love these things. Okay, so... Okay. Let's see here. Enphase still dragging a little bit. Yeah, Q's dragging. Let's look at MSFT. Let's see what's going on with MSFT. Yeah, Microsoft dragging a little bit as well. Q's are trying to come back right now. Goog. Goog not so much. Yeah. Still staying red. Going back to red over here at NVIDIA. Okay. What do we have this on Pinterest? Let's listen to this for a moment.
Double-digit growth in terms of users. Maybe Matt's one of them, a new one that they've just added in terms of monthly active users. Loads of them are outside of the US. You've got about 300 million outside the US, 99 million here in the US. But they are managing to see double-digit growth in revenue. You are seeing 40% increase in earnings per share. And they guide for more double-digit growth in revenue going forward.
But Caroline, their shares were down 8% year to date.
No, NVIDIA's popping back up here.
Damn good year for stocks. So something is not impressing the market.
And what's interesting is also their valuation is way lower than like a Meta or a Snap in terms of for price versus future earnings. So why are people still questioning the cost of generative AI? Is a lot.
Upstart's now 34%. NVIDIA's coming back. Q's are about to go green again.
For the fiscal fourth quarter. So we are seeing that they're having to plow money into generative AI, and people want to see, to your point, Matt, when are we going to get the shoppability? When are we going to see advertisers rate Pinterest at the same as a Meta when they're going for Instagram, when the same as going for other competitors in the space? Because many feel that sometimes it's a bit of an also-ran when you're putting ad dollars to work.
Yeah, it's a good point, too, that you make on valuation. Though I will say I was surprised this morning to see that its market cap is still above $22 billion. Not what I would have expected. But
it's got loads of users. It's got way more users than X, for example.
Right, but expand on the competitive landscape a little bit more when it comes to ad. You mentioned Meta, you mentioned Snap. I have to imagine that when they're trying to chip away at that, that's a tough hill to climb.
It is, and I think when all marketeers are out there spending, all boats rise. But to your point, you were pointing out earlier when you looked at the share price plummeting the first point after trade opened, it is about food and beverage. I mean, who knows what's happening at Sweetgreen, but ultimately these companies, this is a result of the election. A lot of people are strapped for cash. People aren't spending as much on a Coca-Cola or particular some of the CPG units, and therefore we're likely to see maybe just a bit of a drawback going into the holidays. Also, maybe just the market got ahead of itself.
To your
it was
point,
really exuberant.
Seen that before.
To your point, they have tons of users. There are assets here.
It's a different kind of user than an X user, right?
Well,
Can you
this is
really
my
make
question.
the comparison? People live, sleep, eat,
This
and
is my
breathe
question.
X.
I don't.
The more,
And I'm still a user.
the more that you see the price drop, how much more does it become either a acquisition target or an activist target?
Oh, hadn't well, from a perspective, I'm sure that the investor base are one that they're going to be having to talk to a lot about whether or not this is vindicated in terms of the purchase price. But I mean, I'm going to go into analyst recommendations. Overall, people have been relatively buoyant. We're seeing a lot of price targets cut.
You know, I was actually looking at the Pins financials this morning, and I mean, they're growing, but their EPS is very, very low. And I suppose I just wasn't magnificently impressed. But you know, maybe I'm missing something there. So I'll have to take a peek at that again. But take a look at where Upstart is. Upstart's coming up to a resistance line that I have drawn. That is the 76.69 line. This line has been here for a while, so I don't know why I have it drawn, but I suppose it's worth mentioning that I do. And the reason I like mentioning that is because you know, when you've got momentum like this, usually people are looking for, okay, where's my position for an exit or whatever. This one might be one to pay attention to. You know, I'm also seeing this sort of tenuousness on like to keep going up here, specifically from NVIDIA. I'm seeing a little bit of that from Lyft and Enphase and Google. You know, Microsoft. Yeah, we got a green candle here, but we're up about 5 bips. It's really some of these smaller companies that are going up, getting rejected at this line. Kind of see where it goes here. I wonder directionally, oh, look at that, 306. I still think 310's in play today for Tesla, but not much higher than that. I wonder, are markets being weighed down by the solar segment or what? So I'm watching, watching, yeah, MSFT, still getting a drop here. How about Apple? Is that holding up at all? Yeah, Apple's also dipping a little bit. You're setting up for not a lot of, outside of Tesla and Upstart, I'm not seeing a lot of bullish momentum. Things that are green aren't moving that aggressively, or they're capping out. Like here's Starbucks, Carnival, some of the cruise lines are up a little bit. Oh, SPY's up about 22 basis points. Amazon's down by about the same. Trade Desk down 10.4. Bitcoin dropped a little bit more here, under that 76 line. Also feels like you're kind of hitting a little bit of a ceiling here. Under Armour down 5. AMD's down a bit. Then I've got... Qs are just really holding on to just about 1 bip here. Bond yield's doing well. And there's Tesla really dancing around that 305 order book. All right, let's jump on over here. Let's see what CNBC has to say to us.
With some of these top CEOs, the new outlook for the U.S. economy, regulatory agenda, which will affect everything from AI. We'll talk to the CEO of IBM about that, to financial markets. We'll talk to the NASDAQ CEO about that. Cyber, Palo Alto CEO Nikesh Arora, to telecommunications with T-Mobile CEO Mike Sievert, and of course the host, Jane Fraser, CEO of Citi. Her stock is up 7% this week alone, about everything from regulation to the Fed. That's all coming up in the next 2 hours of Squawk on the Street. We'll be right back.
Cool outfit, Sarah. Let's go over here.
Certainly in the last few years, when I think about BlackRock and I think about Millennium, both leaders are thinking about the future.
Oh, NVIDIA's pumping back up a little bit here. Yeah, a little bit of a bid there on NVIDIA. Let's go listen in here.
Really, the market making hold that banks are leaving behind. BlackRock sees that. What's the rationale as we know it?
Yeah, so if we look at it from the BlackRock point of view, this is a firm that is getting bigger and bigger, is pushing more into an alternative finance. You've seen them trying to buy HPS. And if we see this deal, if it does come to fruition, we should say these are...
Yeah, TLT moving nicely right now. Again, you have that license from Powell for bond yields to go down, which I think is beneficial not just for bonds, but also probably mortgage companies, although, they're in the toilet right now.
Let's talk about Millennium a little bit more. Like Shonali said, this is a company, a hedge fund that's been changing. You think about their assets. I thought it was so interesting that they tried to raise as much as $10 billion, but they were oversubscribed. I mean, Millennium, it seems like everyone wants a piece.
Exactly. Over $20 billion of demand.
Palantir rising right now like a rocket. It's up 2.4%. Watch that one on the upside.
Waiting list of people trying to get into Millennium. And you can see that this is a firm that has posted pretty strong returns almost every year that it's been around. And so they're sort of highly looked at. But what's interesting with these talks is that this is the first time that Millennium would have ever had sold a portion of its firm in its 35-year history. So, and you're seeing this is a firm that has been institutionalizing itself in some ways. The leaders at the very top are now essentially an office of the CIO.
So, I mean, it's a $70 billion hedge. Sorry, did you?
Well, yeah, one thing I had to ask about...
Last 2 minutes, GameStop just took a little bit of a rocket ship, too.
Who are the people under the hood? They've been making a lot of changes, and I think that matters as they potentially have this talk with BlackRock, because what happens one day if Izzy Englander steps aside?
Right. And so if we look at the firm, for a long time there was, chatter about, okay, it being one person, whether it be Michael Gelband, who has left, or somebody else. And now if you look at the firm, it's with this essentially a office of the CIO, multiple people at the top running the firm.
Enphy's down about 5% now. I'm going to get off this talk here from the Doomers. But down 5% on Enphase. It's quite a bit. I've been looking at to see what would happen when Enphase goes under $70, and right now, it's not great. So Palantir's getting stuck around that 2.5, although that's pretty nice on a day, honestly. I'll give it that. Q's still sitting around 5 basis points here. Nvidia just popped up another 20 or so. So that's definitely helping. TLT keeps going. Licensed to print money on bonds right now, it feels like. It seems like a better entry than when the Fed cut 50, which seems so counterintuitive, but that's all right. ARM down 3%, AMD's down a bit here, Under Armour's down a bit, Bitcoin's trying to get back up. AppLovin runs again. Wow, look at that. Another day of running on AppLovin. That's actually pretty incredible. This was one that it was up somewhere around 40-something% just the other day. And I think what it is you have this sort of like how would you say this? Like impossible to be quenched thirst for AI. And so you're seeing that here. Nvidia is really, look at this. How many times are you going to get rejected at the 200 SMA line? This is like you lost it over here. You got a couple of rejects after that. The Q's just lost the lead as well. I threw down a quick little trend line here just to keep an eye on the Q's, a little bit of a downward trend that we're getting. Although we'll see if VWAP can hold it up. But if we break the SMAs over here, you're going to have a worse day on the Q's. If you can break the downtrend line, then you're probably just back to normal. Again, it's been an environment where there has not been a lot of profit taking, and so usually the trend has been up, and so obviously the desire has been to stay in stocks. Okay, Palantir keep peaking a little bit here. Then you've got GameStop still on its little rocket ship there. And, topping off over here. Oh, wow, look at that. Enphase now down 5.6. Ouch. That's rough. Apple's only up about a third. Palantir's now giving up a little bit. Rocket ship coming back down to earth on GameStop. One candlestick. Might be a little early to say. A little discount on Lyft. Look at Upstart. Right to my line. And now it's just sitting at that line. I didn't talk about Upstart in the Alpha Report this morning, but if you're not a member of the Alpha Report yet, make sure to grab that over at meetkevin.com/alpha. meetkevin.com/alpha. Anyway, you can see that over there. Okay, so then we've got, let's see what we have. We have U of M data coming out in about 1 minute. I don't know if, I really think it'll probably be a nothing burger, though you could briefly get some movement in a different direction. Still on the path to 310 here, as predicted on Tesla. Let's see if it ends up working. Wow, Ubiquity's up 21%. Holy smokes, that's incredible. So that is at $317 now. And here comes the U of M information. Okay, let's see here. Okay. We are now, okay, should be out now. It is, it's a beat. That's better than expected on inflation. For the 1-year inflation is lower than expected, 2.6 versus 2.7. Sentiment comes in higher at 73 versus expectations. That should be pretty bullish. And it looks like you just got a little bit of a spike on the Qs as well after that data. There you go. This data might be what it takes to get you to break that bearish downtrend that you got there for a moment. And that looks like exactly what's happening here. You've got, let's see, Enphase, even Enphase getting a little bit of a bid. You've got Apple still trending down a little bit. And then you have Nvidia, not much of a movement. I mean, usually these sentiment surveys are a nothing burger. You get like 1 or 2 minutes of candlesticks out of them. But that might be what it takes to get Tesla to 310. Look at that, 309. I mean, the whole morning it's been up. So it's moving as anticipated from its AM break. And it has a very strong support at 295. Like, even if you break 295, like, your next support line is all the way down at 260, 265-ish in that range. And you're not going to see a movement all the way down there very quickly. You'd have to bleed down there. So that actually strengthens your 295 support, in my opinion. I don't think somebody's going to try to short it from, like, 295 to 260. It's too big of a gap. Okay, Nvidia's still down the quarter. Palantir, yeah, okay. GameStop's chilling out a little bit, capping out a little bit on Palantir as well. And what else? Tesla keeps rocketing. The bond market's moving. Oh, look at that. You got DJT. This is a very important line for DJT. This is your 2851 line. Pretty critical. And watching that one closely, because I think if you lose that, you might be going down sub 20, but we have not entered that era yet. Okay, ARM's down about 4. Bitcoin back to 76 after that U of M data. Again, longer term on the day, the U of M data should be a nothing burger. It's the next big drop. Really, the next catalyst, we talked about it in the Alpha report. You're kind of catalyst free until you get to, frankly, next week, like Wednesday and Thursday, when you get your CPI and PPI data. But other than that, there's actually not that much in the way of catalysts. So, I'm going to write down quickly what we had here at U of M, but none of it earth-shattering or game-changing. So, Tesla, almost. Oh, there, it hit the 310. Let's see here. Yeah, 309. Okay. You know Elon's company loves irony. That's true. That's true. The most ironic is usually the what's it called? The most likely. Doesn't he say that? The most likely outcome is usually the most ironic. Something like that. Yeah. So 310. Watch that level here. And that's where this, I think, is where you cap out on the day. So so far I said if we were going to break 300 once that order book was cleared, I thought we'd rapidly jump up, and we did. Then once we cleared 305, I thought we'd rapidly jump up to 310. We did. I don't think there's more in it for today. That's not me trying to be bearish. I'm just saying it's probably at a top now. And if it keeps going, then I was wrong. But my take is probably at the top right there. Okay, big red candlestick there for some reason on Nvidia. Not exactly sure why. And then you've got... rebounding a little bit now. Okay. Q's just dropped. Wow, look at that. Off my line right there. See that trend? Now it's got to hold the SMAs. Hold the SMAs, otherwise it gets dirtier fast. All right. Bonds going. Come on, baby. Pump the bonds. JPow gave you a bottom on bonds. If you're in bonds, I think you got a gift from JPow yesterday. He told you the bottom is in. Hashtag No guarantees or personalized advice. But we'll see. Let's see. Are we gonna get what kind of recovery? Are we gonna get here? Let's see here. Curious as to why. I don't. I mean, is it just? Let me see if I can see if there are any suits saying anything about this. Stocks post-election exuberance looks shaky under the hood. The stock rally across the stock market after Trump's decisive election victory hit a less optimistic truth under the surface. Ooh. The S&P 500 tech-heavy NASDAQ 100 and the Dow Jones Industrial climbed to their highest level. May give the impression that the rally was all-encompassing, but that was not the case. Within the S&P 500, 161 stocks, or nearly 32% of the index, fell on Wednesday. Well, yeah, I mean, you got to unprice the Kamala stocks. I mean, of course, there are going to be some Kamala stocks. Data. Show percentage, testing new month lows. Percentage of stocks hitting a new 1 month low has risen this month, despite markets generally trending up. They're such bears. Okay, now you're getting a little bit of recovery. Is it going to hold? Negative 11 basis points on the Qs. I'm really watching NVIDIA as sort of the guide for this. And then you've got Enphase still down 5.5%. Apple's doing fine. I mean, most of these, honestly, are doing just fine. So you got a little bit, a few minutes of red there. But look at that. Upstart rejects on my line. Very interesting. Yeah, and then you got a nice green candle there on the Qs. See if it can. It held the SMA. Turning slightly right again. Let's see what happens. It's coming back up. Coming back. Is it? Dell. Oh, Supermicro has really lost its momentum today. Piton up 5%, so it's kept going. No desire to stop there. Oh, yeah, Bitcoin dropped a little bit too here. Let's see. Okay, there's your SMA. This is an important line. You really want to get a bounce here to be bullish. All right, so we'll keep an eye on that. Okay. Tesla 308 up 4%. It's pretty good. And NVIDIA it's trying to hold on. It's struggling a little bit. Okay, what about Apple? No, what about Palantir? Slowing down. Enphase, Google. Microsoft contributed a little bit to that fall. I wonder why. So is NVIDIA. Tesla's holding up, though. It's almost sort of like holding up the index, if you will. Dell keeps falling. Trump. Oh, look at that. You had a nice bid on DJT there. Wow. And suspended. Okay. Yep. Bonds keep moving. Now you're losing the SMAs. That's not ideal. But let's see if you get a bounce here. All right, let's listen in here for a brief moment. We'll get to the course member live stream soon.
Scope on antitrust.
But you think Lena Khan and this restrictive
group of people that came in the Biden administration are gone?
I think it's hard to see when you have a senior level in the administration sticking around for the next administration. So, you know, the ideology won't unwind completely. I think that's not just a pendulum that's going to fall back the other way. I think the progression towards some more enforcement is probably here for a while. And I think some of it's warranted. I think we probably had some misses over the years with respect to consumer-sensitive industries and areas where I think enforcement didn't see where the puck was going with some of the technology transactions. But generally, I think it's going to be a little bit lighter touch, and that's overall good news for our markets.
And a lot of deal makers also point out that they just didn't win some of these. Think Microsoft, Activision. You know, another deal Matt and I were talking about earlier this week in particular was U.S. Steel. We use this as an example because through the campaign, there was...
Tesla's almost at 310 now.
Couldn't buy a U.S. steel company, and now you have that.
It wasn't just an idea. Both candidates were extremely vocal about the fact that they would never let it happen on their watch.
Absolutely, and now you have Nippon Steel saying they think that the deal could close soon. And so, was that campaign rhetoric, or is there still going to be the threat of a protectionist stance as international companies look to those companies onshore, like you were talking about earlier?
Yeah, that raises an entirely different issue outside of the antitrust framework, which is, of course, politically sensitive areas. So national security threats, threats to our borders, those types of industries, I think, will face increased scrutiny under CFIUS and review that's done through the executive branch. U.S. Steel is obviously labor sensitive, so politically it has heightened issues for our leaders, and that puts you into a different category from, for example, a JetBlue and trying to merge with Spirit, for example.
Andrew, if you could just directly settle the debate for us. Can you imagine any world in which Donald Trump allows a Japanese company to buy U.S. Steel?
Yeah, I would say it's always risky for me to comment on existing transactions that haven't closed. I would look at the market, and the market's telling you with a $20 plus or $15 discount today, something like that. It's a $55 all-cash deal, I think, and it's trading $41, $42. It's supposed to close in 2 months. That's a hell of a return if you can get that in the merger arb industry. So right now, the merger arb market is at least telling you they don't think it's going to close, or at least on the terms and timing that.
Yeah. All right. Let's hop off that. Let's listen over here. Oh yeah, I think the SEC, even under the Biden administration, I thought the SEC's lawsuit against Coinbase was going to fail. You can actually watch my video where I covered it, not only live, but then did a summary video on it. And I'm like, their case is very weak.
Can be conflicting with the economic reality. I think what he's likely to do is quickly shut the border, maybe deport convicted criminals. That'll get a lot of attention and headlines, but mass deporting everybody that showed up illegally is a tall order physically from a cost standpoint, and as Ernie just pointed out, from a supply and demand of labor standpoint.
Yeah.
Bob, Ernie, we're going to be having really interesting conversations in the coming months, hopefully with your help. Thanks, guys. Have a good weekend.
You too.
Let's get to Sarah now in Pebble Beach. Sarah?
Hi, Carl. When we come back, we are going to talk to Jane Fraser, the CEO of Citigroup, about how her expectations have changed for the economy, regulation, policy, now that President Trump has had that extraordinary victory and the shifts in Congress. We're going to talk to her about her transformation of Citigroup and what more she has to do. That's all when Squawk on the Street comes right back.
All right, interesting. So, oh wow, Tesla broke the 310. That was surprising to me. I thought 310 would be the top. It actually broke through 310. That's incredible. Now sitting at 311. Pretty impressive. Got to give it that. Now you're in territory where it does seem like incredible and unexpected. So congratulations for the hodlers. Then what else do we have here? So then we've got, let's see here. Yeah, almost at 312 now. And looking at Nvidia just keeps dropping. So does Enphase. So does Goog. Sunrun, wow, down 10%. Holy moly. All right, interesting. Still got the Qs dropping there, huh? All right. It doesn't seem like there's a lot of momentum though on the Qs dropping. We'll see how that sort of transitions. All right, what else do we have here? Let's listen in over here.
Deadly tumors that contain.
No, nothing. Okay. Oh, everybody's on commercial right now. Okay. Then let's see what else we have. Let's see here. Okay, then. Looks like you might be getting a little bit of a ceiling here intraday on bonds. Let me see what the yield market is doing. Bonds. Oh, wow. Yeah, you dropped 6.8 basis points. And looks like now you might have a little bit of a retracement. No guarantees, obviously, but not uncommon to see that. You're at, what's TMF today? TMF is sitting at 48.17. Okay. Let's see, what else? Yeah, Qs have recovered a little bit here now. Still holding on. Yeah, peeking out just above that 310 level. Still very good. 310 still my predicted top for the day. But who knows? I mean, the momentum has just been incredible. So then you have, oh, Goog's down a whole %. Surprising. TLT, oh no, it doesn't want to top out today. All right. So let's see here. Okay, very good. Let's see what they got. Citigroup.
Benefit the consumer. That will benefit smaller and larger companies in their access and cost of funding. So we're expecting broadly this to be pro-growth and beneficial.
I am curious what happens to Basel III, because the original proposal was the 19% increase in capital, and then they came back with a 9% increase in capital, but that didn't pass. So what is your expectation at this point? That it gets delayed further? Could it go away?
I think there are a variety of different scenarios that could play out here. We will have to wait and see what happens, but our expectation will be that it will be the lighter version. I think any bank CEO will tell you we feel very well capitalized indeed.
The lighter version of the increase, the 9% increase?
I would expect a lighter version of the Basel III proposal. We would hope.
Yeah, especially under Trump now, I probably get even less banking regulation, eh?
And I wonder if you think it's realistic to expect, I don't know, rollback of, for instance, the late fees rules, and how beneficial that would be for you.
As always, personnel will drive policy, as we've been talking about this morning. And so we'll see who are the individuals that are chosen, what will their policy agenda be. We'll just have to wait and see. But a lighter environment on that front, and I hope that will help drive competitiveness. We feel the U.S. financial system, it's the best in the world, and we want to make sure that it continues to be competitive and a global strength for America.
Speaking of the best in the world,
Tesla 312. This is amazing. Honestly, I have to say, I mean, the 295 launch made sense. And then once you launch off 295, you launch off 300, makes sense. Over 310, I don't know, man. I don't see over 310 today. So, hey, what great, 312. TLT keeps going strong here, up now 134. You're now down 7.4 basis points on the 10-year Treasury. TLT obviously is the 20-year, but they're not too far apart. It's just tanking right now. It's almost like there's just a lot of buying going in to these after the good old Jay Powell meeting. Jay Powell! So, pretty impressive. Oh, look at that. Holding on to that about 2 and a bit over there at Palantir. End phase now down 6.2%. That's pretty punishing. That's pretty crazy. At some point, they're going to get to like a, buy the dip place. Jeez. Okay. What else? Doomer's got anything? Otherwise, we're going to go to the course member live here.
RFK Jr. came as a surprise, but more and more recently, he's been continuing to float those names. So we might see the two of them in some sort of high position in his next administration. And then beyond that, hearing that a lot of the folks that he had towards the end of his last administration could play another significant role. They might just assume the same position or find a new role within this administration.
Stephanie, I also want to pull up at this juncture WSL election go on the terminal here, because you already see the poly market betting on who Trump will look to nominate for Treasury Secretary, with Scott Bessent, longtime hedge fund manager, and also longtime hedge fund manager John Paulson, really high up on that list. The betting markets got us to a very good place in the last juncture. Wondering
Bessent dominates here, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Bessent has also been a very close and formal advisor to Trump during the election, and also, frankly, wrote his Economic Club of New York speech in a lot of ways. So at the end of the day, it's interesting to see a lot of business names up there. Do you know how he's going to treat the business community in particular, particularly when Howard Lutnick himself is on this team choosing who would be in these spots?
It definitely does. Yeah, Wall Street players are going to continue to play a big role, whether or not it's in actual positions or just advising the people who end up in these positions. It's very clear that Donald Trump has continued to surround himself with these major Wall Street players. And I think in some ways, the people who are closely following the Treasury pick are thinking that this will signal to the markets that he's, really playing a professional look at his next administration. He doesn't want
313 Tesla.
Or, whoever's loyal to him the most. It's really who will be the most expert in that role.
Right. Stephanie, got to leave it there. Really appreciate your reporting. Our thanks, of course, to Bloomberg's Stephanie Lai. This is Bloomberg.
All right. So let's see what else we got here. Ooh, Bitcoin right at my line again. 76.3. Trade desks recovering a little bit. TLT consolidating. TMF 3x leverage version. Palantir 6.5% on end phase. Oh my lord. And look at that. Look at that move on Tesla. Now 314. That's crazy. That I did not expect. 310 makes sense. 315? Nah, man. That's crazy. So, bull bear scale after Fed yesterday. Well, what's remarkable is the Fed really reiterated my thesis on inflation, which is that hasn't changed. That inflation is just basically not a problem at all. As far as the labor market, we didn't get a lot of labor market talk. I would have really loved some more labor market talk, and we just didn't get it. So I felt a little saddened by that. But What do I say? Yeah, I guess. I think it's all gonna, in terms of what the economy does, I think it's all just gonna come down now to, frankly, what happens with employment. Employment's gonna be the key to the castle here. If employment ends up being, fine, like the people who were temporarily laid off find other work, or they just sort of leave the labor force because they just wanted to do seasonal work anyway because maybe they're senior citizens or whatever, and they don't really need the permanent job. Maybe that's maybe that's the game plan. So, or January layoffs turn into a big poopy doopy. I'm not entirely sure. Not sure. So, I think that's going to be really what dictates the bull-bear scale, is what happens with employment, because the trends of employment are not beautiful. The trends of employment are actually pretty scary, and usually once they start decaying, they don't stop decaying. It's not like they magically stop at a certain point just because the Fed wants them to stop in that position. So that's the hardest part. As long as labor holds up, the economy can keep going. I mean, there's no question the economy is slowing. Pricing power is falling at companies. There's no question of that. But it's so that does make it a little harder. I mean, earnings so far, even though they were revised down, decently bullish in the quarter. Data has, in terms of consumer sentiment and spending, has been optimistic. The only problems I really see, I don't see inflation as a problem. The only problems I see are a lack of pricing power and what's happening in the employment world. Obviously, like, bond spreads are reiterating some of that pain as well, but that's to be expected. The bond market's been screaming at us recessionary signals for quite a while, and that would include what's it called? The inverted yield curve, or whatever. Donald Trump reiterates no plans to sell DJT after election. Nice. Okay, what else do we have here? So, it looks like that's making it move. Let's take a quick peek here. Really got to get to the course live. DJT. Oh yeah, you had a nice little pop above this line over here on the DJT call. Still consolidating here on TLT. Palantir 2%, Nvidia still slightly red on some of these. 314s where you're bobbing with Tesla. Okay. Somebody says, Humble Hiker says, appreciate that. Love the Alpha Report. Oh, well, thank you for that. That's awesome. $9.99. Oh, well, thank you. Someone says, hi, Summer. Somebody else says, recap what's driving the market. Let's see here. $20. Oh, thank you so much. So, a bit out of the loop. Recap on what's driving the market. By the way, Kevin, member since 19. Just got a new job as a project business agent based on your thoughts of self-improvement and personal professional development. Oh, that's awesome. Congratulations. Yeah, I mean, really what you have right now is a mostly Trump trade euphoric market. So solar, green energy down, and the bond market, bonds down on belief of Trump inflation. Tesla up due to speculation of Elon's potential involvement with the White House. And then larger caps up on hope that there will be deregulation. And less regulatory problems and burdens. So as far as that's sort of broadly what's going on, and as a result, markets are hitting essentially all-time highs, which is pretty impressive, or pretty good. You've got, markets started red this morning, so they've almost all gone green, well, indices at least, with the exception of NAS, but that's only down a few points right now. At some point intraday, just some expectations as I wrap up intraday. Oh, yeah, and then longer term, right now, it doesn't seem like there's any indication of sort of, desire for people to take profits or sell. Intraday, I would expect that you're probably topped out on TLT. Having a 7 basis point move on really no move, insight here is probably, not sustainable. So this will probably come down a little bit, which would be to be expected. I think Tesla will close under 310. It's just my thesis based on what we've been talking about all morning long. We did see it going from 295 to 310, as we called that over here, but I thought it would stop at 310. It has not. I think there's a shot you end up seeing a rebound by the end of the day on some of the heavier solar sell-off that we've seen. No guarantees, obviously. And then, look at that. Tesla just keeps going. It's about 316 right now. Pretty impressive. And then, let's see here. Qs are about to go green. Supermicro never caught its momentum today. And then if I go to DJT on Trump coming out suggesting he's not going to sell, we know this is an important line, the 2851. Breaking this would have been bad. The SMA caught it. And then, of course, in addition to the SMA catching it, you ended up having Donald Trump say, I'm not going to sell, which is pretty bullish. So, I think, you've got upside now on end phase. It looks like it bottomed out at 66.91. You need to now break through VWAP and the moving averages, and I mean, I think you're probably in a pretty heavily oversold condition for end phase right now. And Tesla look at that rip. That's incredible rip. So, but anyway, okay. So what else do we have? TLTs, not much over here, and then I think overall looking pretty decent here. Let's see what else we have. Let's see here. Okay. You've got Google. Why is Google down so much? I'm curious about that. This is going to be, let's see here. Google. Yeah, it's kind of flattening over there, so maybe not that big of a deal. Okay, and then you've got end phase right at VWAP now. Let's see if end phase can break VWAP. That's going to be a big deal. TLTs trying to bounce on VWAP. DJT. It's holding on pretty well. Okay, what else? Still got 7% on TESS. It's definitely 7 points more than I thought on 310. So good for it. Now at 318. Kind of just curious to see where it goes. Pretty impressive. I will absolutely hand it to him. So look at this. Can you see 320 then? Somebody says PE must be close to 100. No, the PE is like 123. Well, actually, that was as of, I think, like 300 this morning. So, now you're going to have to divide a little bit again. But anyway, okay, pretty impressive. Then let's see if we can keep getting insights here. No, on Microsoft. Yeah, TLT keeps slowing down over here. So not the big enthusiasm you'd hope on this one, at least for it to last, right? And then Googs. Oh, almost 320 now. Let's see if it can hold it. I gotta stay to see if it's gonna break it. Come on. 319 even. Slight reject. Okay. Yeah. No. Now you're getting a little bit of a drop. I think it's coinciding with the Qs, though. Yeah, coinciding with the Qs. All right. Well, there you have it. All right, folks. Thanks so much for being here. Good luck, everyone. We'll see y'all in the next one. We'll go to Course Member